Good afternoon from a very sunny Switzerland. In less than an hour's time, I'll be joined by about 90 people in this room for my very first keynote speaking event. So in the spirit of continuing the video series, Strengthening Our Courage Muscles, I thought today it would be perfect to talk about feel the fear and do it anyway. Statistics show that the fear of public speaking is one of the top 10 and typically the top 5 fears that most people face, usually topped by death actually. But for me, as I'm pursuing a path as a professional speaker, it doesn't mean that I don't also feel those same nerves, but it's been a journey over the last 30 years to get to this point. So I'll share just briefly with you a bit about my background as it relates to speaking. When I was in university, I was completely terrified of speaking in public, to the point that I probably barely passed my communications course. I hated being up in front of the room, and I would rehearse my speeches for 5 minutes, only to find that when I was in the room it was 3 because I was so nervous that it went so quickly. My hands were shaking so badly that you could see my notes jumping up and down, and I always had to wear long trousers to make sure that you couldn't see my knees jumping. But then over the course of the last 30 years, I've just continued to make presentations or speaking in public, a lot of times because my job required it, but sometimes on a voluntary basis as well. So it's been interesting for me to see the kind of fear that I face today is very different than I did, say, nearly 30 years ago. For many people, the fear of public speaking is around judgment, criticism, the fear of failure. For me today, the actual nerves that I feel are more about making sure that the people who have taken time out of their day and paid money to hear me speak, that's a bit nerve-wracking, that they go away feeling like it was time and money well spent, that they got value, and that there was something that came from today's talk that meant something for them and can impact their lives. So that's the nervousness that I feel today. And I think for most people, as we think about feeling the fear and doing it anyway, for me, I think the key is that it's about labeling the fear. So we all get nerves, but how can we help to overcome them? Through labeling the fear, identifying it, recognizing where it comes from, and then logically explaining to ourselves why some of that fear is typically irrational. A good friend of mine says false evidence appearing real for the acronym of fear. So what is it that you might be fearing at the moment that you can feel the fear and face it anyway? I have everything crossed for a great successful evening today in Zurich, joining the Healthcare Businesswomen's Association for this talk. And I hope that you found some value in today's session as well. Take care.